if you are looking to build your investment skills, then this podcast is for you. So आज के podcast में जो हमारे साथ speaker है, जो guest हैं, वो he is also working in this space for the past 4 or 5 years on his own, and they are doing some good stuff, and that good stuff he is here to share with us. So Prakhar bhai, first of all, welcome to our podcast, and I invite you to introduce yourself. Like आप अपने आप से introduce कर दो हमारी audience से.
Hi, Prince Bhai. So, firstly, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to share my views with your audience. So, hi everyone. This is Prakhar Agarwal. I manage an investment entity by the name 2 Alpha Capital, wherein I deploy my own capital along with my partners, which we majorly deploy in listed space, be it stocks or derivatives. By qualification, I have a CFA charter, which I cleared very recently. And in our investment entity, major focus is identifying mispriced securities from listed space by following a classical value-oriented framework, uh, buying something cheap or maybe something trading below what it should be worth intrinsically. So that kind of a framework. I'll come to that later in detail about this framework. So in
Yeah,
brief,
sure. ओके ग्रेट प्रखर भाई. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपने दो तीन चीजें बोली, मैं एक एक करके सब सब पे आऊंगा. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वांट यू टू कांग्रेचुलेट लाइक कि आपको अभी
thanks,
अभी यू गॉट योर सीएफए चार्टर, एंड आई
thanks.
सॉ योर पिक्चर्स ऑन लिंक्डइन एंड ऑल.
Yeah, yeah.
सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल
Thank you,
कांग्रेचुलेशन फॉर
thanks.
दैट. एंड सो I understand the journey, and like when we get the charter,
Yeah,
it feels happy and it feels
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
So then you talked about क्लासिकल वैल्यू ओरिएंटेड फ्रेमवर्क दैट यू फॉलो. सो हम लोग इस पे बात करते हैं. लाइक आप एक सिंपल टर्म में, जैसे सपोज करो कोई पर्सन सामने बैठ के शायद वो पहली बार इन्वेस्टिंग करने सीख रहा हो,
yeah,
तो
yeah.
आप उसको कैसे समझाओगे क्लासिकल वैल्यू ओरिएंटेड फ्रेमवर्क क्या होता है? एक एक स्टेप बाय स्टेप
Yeah,
बताना.
yeah. Yeah, so firstly, I would say कि जो basically जो भी investing है, every investing is a value investing. If you are not getting value with reference to the price you are paying, so then it's not investing, it's a speculation. So value investing simply means buying something which should be reasonably worth at $100 per share, which you want to buy at lot below than that. And the difference is termed as a margin of safety. Bring that in detail later on. So basically, classical value investing nothing but buying something very cheap. Now, how do you calculate that intrinsic value? Basically, firstly, it's subjective. So there is no real measure of intrinsic value. You will need to form your subjective opinion. Then what should be the any asset for that matter worth intrinsically, or what should be its worth if you are buying to keep it. So let me give you an example of a bond. When you are
ओके ओके, धीमे धीमे चलते हैं. मैं मेरी एक दो क्वेश्चन है, फिर उसके बाद हम
हाँ
एग्जांपल
हाँ
लेंगे ना.
हाँ
सो
हाँ
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपने जैसे बोला एवरी इन्वेस्टिंग इज अ वैल्यू इन्वेस्टिंग. सो मैं
या
जैसे प्रखर भाई ने बोला, मैं थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन करके बताता हूँ कि व्हाट ही इज सेइंग. लाइक व्हाई वी डू इन्वेस्टिंग एंड व्हाई वी डू एनी वेंचर. लाइक इफ वी, सो द अल्टीमेट आइडिया बिहाइंड दैट इज टू जनरेट सम वैल्यू. वैल्यू इन फॉर्म ऑफ प्राइस अप्रिशिएशन, कि पैसा बढ़ जाएगा. वैल्यू इन फॉर्म ऑफ कि हमें थोड़े दिन बाद कुछ और ग्रोथ मिलेगी. सो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट टाइप्स की इन्वेस्टिंग होती है. सो वैल्यू इन्वेस्टिंग से प्रखर भाई कह रहे हैं कि हर इन्वेस्टिंग जो आप कर रहे हो वो वैल्यू ही है, क्योंकि आपको उस पर वैल्यू बढ़ के चाहिए. अब अगर आप वैल्यू इन्वेस्टिंग नहीं कर रहे हो तो आप स्पेकुलेशन कर रहे हो, लाइक जिसमें आप होप प्रे विश पे खेल रहे हो. सो सेकंड पॉइंट पे अखर भाई ने बोला कि इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू की बात की. तो इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू का, जैसे सपोज करो यू आर गोइंग टू बाय अ फोन. सो आपको क्या लग रहा है इस फोन की वैल्यू कितनी है? तो अब आप सपोज करो मार्केट में 10,000 पे मिल रहा है. अब आपको अगर ये 6,000 8,000 में मिल जाएगा तो आपके लिए वैल्यू है ना, क्योंकि जब जैसे ही प्राइस नॉर्मल पे आएगा तो आप उसका डिफरेंशिएशन 10,000 पे पहुंच जाएगा ना. तो सिमिलरली अभी प्रखर भाई एग्जांपल देंगे, तो प्रखर भाई ओवर टू यू. और बॉन्ड का एग्जांपल ले लेंगे. बॉन्ड अक्सर लोगों के लिए टफ होते हैं, तो हम कोई इक्विटी का, लेट से
ओके ओके या
देयर इज अ शेयर एक्स वाई जेड. शेयर एक्स
ओके
वाई जेड है, तो
या
आप
या
उसका एग्जांपल लेके बताओ.
ठीक है. So let's assume XYZ share has a book value of 100 rupees per share. Just an example.
या
Let's say
करेक्ट.
a return on equity, which is the how much return an entity can generate on the net worth it has. So let's say if you have 1 crore in your bank account and if you make 20 lakh per annum by doing any kind of a business, so that 20 lakh is your return on equity, whatever you generate on your net worth. So in a hypothetical example, let's say book value of the company XYZ is 100 crores and it's making 20 crores per annum as its profit. Now you have to see that how much you will want to pay to get that 20 crore per in your bank account as a, or whatever current it would be. Obviously, uh, you won't get that as a dividend, but that's fine. Free cash flow is kind of equivalent to getting that, because you are a part owner of the entity. So what I mean to say by something cheap, so if the entity is making 20%, 20 crores per annum, and if you are buying that company at 100 crores, basically it would take 5 years for you to cover your total
Investment.
invested amount.
Yeah.
And when the market interest rate might be, let's say, are 5%, so if you're investing on a government bond, risk-free bond, you will take 20 years to cover your principal amount. So that can be called as buying something cheap. There are obviously a lot of caveats that what will the future performance of that entity. Maybe it might start losing money. Maybe it might not keep up that return on equity. But that's a very simple hypothetical example of what it means buying something very cheap. And we don't know what future would it look like. So we'll what very wide margin of safety uh, to commit our capital on any of the stock or a security. Basically, stocks are a part ownership of a business, so we don't have to see them as a symbol or a ticker, but think yourself as you are buying that company or buying that business, something like that.
ओके, गॉट द पॉइंट। मैं थोड़ा एक बार समराइज करता हूँ जो मुझे समझ में आया।
हाँ हाँ।
मतलब मतलब मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग में थोड़ा टाइम है, मैं थोड़ा स्लो समझूंगा, तो आपसे मैं बता अभी बार बार फॉलो अप क्वेश्चन
हम्म,
पूछूंगा। तो लाइक दैट कि फर्स्ट वी टॉक्ड अबाउट कि फॉर एग्जांपल लाइक देयर इज अ कंपनी जिसमें ओनर्स का पैसा जितना भी मिला लगाया हो, सबका पैसा मिला के उन लोगों ने 100 रुपीज इन्वेस्ट किया है।
या
ठीक है। अब नाउ दैट कंपनी इज अर्निंग इन प्रॉफिट्स, नेट प्रॉफिट्स 20 रुपीज ईच ईयर। ओके।
या
सो यू सेड कि 20-20 रुपए करके 5 साल में रिकवर कर पाएंगे हम अपने
या
100 रुपीज।
या
अगर मैं उस बिजनेस को आज खरीदने चाहता हूँ और
दे
100 रुपीज दे देता हूँ, तो मैं 5 साल में अपना पैसा वापस
हाँ
निकाल पाऊंगा।
या
तो अभी मुझे ये चेक करना है कि मैं उस 100 रुपीज का जो वर्थ बिजनेस है उसमें मैं रिस्क भी ले रहा हूँ, और मुझे मार्केट चाहेगा, प्रोडक्ट बिकेगा नहीं बिकेगा, देयर आर अनसर्टेनिटीज, अ लॉट ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटीज। सो हाउ मच आई एम विलिंग टू पे फॉर दैट 100 रुपीज वर्थ बिजनेस इन टूडेज टर्म्स,
या
कि मुझे आज कितना देना चाहता हूँ मैं उसको ना।
राइट राइट,
सो या ओके।
दैट्स राइट।
सो अभी हमने बहुत सिंपल एग्जांपल समझ लिया, बट एक्चुअल में जब हम अपने फ्रेमवर्क, अच्छा आप ये बोल रहे हो कि हम लोग इंडिविजुअल सिक्योरिटी को प्राइस ना करके पूरे बिजनेस को प्राइस करें? मतलब मेरे को जो लग रहा है अभी मेरे
No,
को
no. See, individual security
नंबर ऑफ
basically,
शेयर से डिवाइड करो।
yeah, yeah. So that is important, but that would come later on. वो सबसे आखिरी का part है. You don't have to do
राइट।
that previously or initially.
सो
Think of yourself as an
ओके।
acquirer of that
या
business.
सो व्हाट आर द फैक्टर्स जो आप अकाउंट करते हो कि 100 रुपीज की वैल्यू आज इस बिजनेस की है, इसमें लगा हुआ है इतना पैसा, तो मैं इसको एक्चुअल में कितना पैसा दूं? कैसे मतलब आप
Yeah,
उस वैल्यू तक पहुंचते हो?
yeah. So
मेरे लिए वो
see,
हमेशा एक
firstly,
बड़ा
it's subjective.
ट्रिकी
So
सा
if
है।
you want me to give answer how to arrive a value, I don't know. No one knows. Even Ben Graham never arrived at a decimal point intrinsic value of any stock. But what I can know is that if the market, if I put my 1 crore on FD, I might get 6 lakh per annum. So if
ओके।
I buy a stock which is available at, let's say, P price to earnings multiple of 10. So simplistically, I am
ओके।
getting 10 lakh
या
per my 1 crores of investment. So I have to evaluate that differentiation on what's my opportunity cost or cost of capital and what I am getting on buying that company. Secondly, I have to also evaluate what would be the future economics or of the business that I would only be able to do if I understand the business clearly. That's why there is a thing called circle of competence. You only need to invest the where you understand. So आपको ये नहीं है कि you will have a valuation of every company which you come across. In my case, if I look at 100 stocks, I might just evaluate one or two that I might be understanding. Secondly, there is a misconception when I said classical value investing. Basically, classically 70, 80 years ago, we used to get a company trading below its net asset value. So if you are having 100 crores on your balance sheet, the company might be available at 50 crores. So it was a very simple operation, like given by Ben Graham or on intelligent investor. You just need to buy a bunch of those securities, even without getting into details on what those business are doing. You will do good. But that approach doesn't work in India, and I don't think that cigar butt approach, जो उसको बोलते हैं, that would be feasible these days. So we don't want to be a do something on that key. Just we just want to buy something quantitative, which we also need to look into what would be the growth prospects of that enterprise. For me, so basically, it's somewhat complicated, but I'll just try to break it down. There are two component of value for any given security. One is bond like, which I give you example of price to earnings. It's just you are capitalizing the earnings. Capitalization is the inverse of PE. So if you are getting annuity of 10 lakh per annum, and let's say you are discounting by 10% interest rate, you will place the value of that annuity as 1 crore. I know it's a little harder for me to express clearly and to you to understand what I am going to say, but just try to reflect on that. You are paying bond like value is nothing but capitalization of whatever you are
Like
getting per annum
similar amount you are getting every year,
on a
kind of,
on
you
a
can say.
perpetual bond.
Yeah, perpetual bond, yeah.
हाँ, तो you are just valuing annuity.
या एन्युटी
So
यू बाय एन्युटी इज
yeah,
लाइक कि आपने
yeah,
एक बार परचेस कर लिया,
yeah,
आपको सिमिलर
yeah.
अमाउंट पे ऑफ करते हैं.
हाँ, so let's say there is a company making 1,000 crores as net profit or free cash flow. Obviously, what is net profit is also a other thing. Net profit not what the bottom line you see on the on the P&L. You have to figure out what is normalized earning power of the company, or where or what figures you need to adjust. For that, you will need to be aware of a little bit of accountancy, little bit of the nature of business. So all those things are there. So I won't say that it's just something entirely simple. That's why we have professionals there, but it's nothing like we have to do a whole bunch of projections and this and that. We have to keep it simple. So if I say that my company is making 1,000 crores of net profit per annum,
ठीक है, आप कंटिन्यू करो.
ठीक,
आई हैव
हाँ,
इट हियर.
yeah, and let's say market cap is 20,000 crores right now.
ओके.
So the price to earnings should be 20. That's fine. So that's my bond like value. That okay, if nothing happens, if there is no growth, then also my company is earning 1,000 crores. Now we know that company would reinvest its capital. What 1,000 crores it has earned per annum. So for that we need to look into how the company would allocate its earning power. That growth can be anything. It can be positive. It can be
Which will
same.
bring growth in future terms, no?
It can be negative as well.
Yeah.
Promoter management might destroy the value of the retained earnings. And then how you value the growth also depends on the kind of company you are evaluating. There are some companies like asset-light business model where there is kind of a network effect. Look for maybe a AMC company. They don't have to invest on fixed assets or working capital to earn incremental revenue. So for them, we do not need to look into return on equity or return on capital employed. We have to look into their franchisee, how much incremental they can earn over the period of time. And there are some businesses which requires you to put invest in plant and machinery and working capital.
गेटिंग द पॉइंट. सो मैं एक बार धीमे धीमे
आप
चलता
हाँ
हूँ, मैं एक बार
हाँ
अभी धीमे धीमे चलता.
हाँ
सो
हाँ
व्हाट वी डू, सो फर्स्ट वी टॉक्ड अबाउट कि लाइक जनरली जब हमने, हमारा फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन था कि आपको इन्वेस्टिंग करना है तो आपका क्या रेशनल होना चाहिए. सबसे पहले फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू सेड कि एक अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट प्लस कॉस्ट ऑफ
yeah
कैपिटल. कॉस्ट ऑफ
yeah.
कैपिटल इज व्हाट, कि लाइक जो आप अगर सपोज इंडिया में
See,
इंटरेस्ट
I
रेट
would say
अगर.
opportunity cost can be replaced by cost of capital. That's my better metric for anyone. So whatever you can earn on that, whatever you're investing elsewhere, that is your opportunity cost.
या अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट यू कैन सी. सो जनरली मतलब जो बेसिक टर्म आपने बोला कि लाइक अगर आप सपोज अपने पैसे को कहीं भी इन्वेस्ट ना करो तो आप बेसिक उस पर क्या टर्म कर लोगे, और अगर आप उस पैसे को कहीं और लाते हो, कहीं और उस पैसे
You
को,
need
उस टाइम को, उस रिसोर्स को लगा के
right.
क्या आउटपुट और जनरेट करवा दो, तो
Yeah,
दैट इज कंबाइंडली कॉल्ड अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट.
yeah,
हाँ, एक तरीके से. तो वही है कि आप जैसे सपोज करो किसी इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, किसी बिजनेस में पैसा डाल रहे हो, तो आपको देखना है कि जो आप पैसा डाल रहे हो उस बिजनेस में, क्या वो पैसा आपकी अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट को, जितना रिटर्न आप
yeah, right.
खुद से जनरेट कर सकते हो उसको लाके देगा, या फिर अगर नहीं लाके दे पाएगा तो देर इज नो पॉइंट. और अगर
There is
आपको
no
लगता है
point.
कि
And how much
आपको,
effort you have to put
या
into
मतलब
evaluating
आपका
that. That's
एफर्ट,
also very
आपका टाइमिंग
important.
और भी जाएगा.
Your time value,
सो गॉट दैट पॉइंट कि अगर सिंपल रखना है, सबसे सिंपल, तो सबसे सिंपल आप सोच लो कि अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट. जैसे मैं एक
opportunity cost
एग्जांपल
of all.
इसका,
हाँ
इजी
हाँ
एग्जांपल देता हूँ. जैसे कोई प्रोफेशनल है, फुल टाइम अगर कोई ये इन्वेस्टिंग वगैरह कर रहा है, और अगर वो फुल टाइम जाके जॉब करता, तो उसको कितना पैसा मिलता, और
right
क्या
right
वो उतना आउटकम इससे निकाल पा रहा है, तो वो
right
आपकी अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट
right.
होगी. तो सिंपल
Yeah,
टर्म, अगर
perfect
आप निकाल
example.
पा रहे
Yeah.
हो तो आपके लिए वर्थ वाइल है, अदरवाइज नहीं है.
Otherwise नहीं है.
ठीक है।
Right.
अभी हम सेकंड पॉइंट, आपने बोला सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस। सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस में बहुत लोग बात करते हैं, और हमने पढ़ा भी है, वॉरेन बफेट, ये सब लोगों ने बहुत इसको बढ़िया, मतलब अच्छा कॉन्सेप्ट दिया है। तो इस कॉन्सेप्ट में थोड़ी बात करेंगे।
हाँ
तो
हाँ।
सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस लोगों को बहुत समझने में प्रॉब्लम होती है, मतलब इवन
हम्म,
लाइक आई हैव टुक सो मेनी इयर्स कि मुझे क्या सच में मेरी क्या स्ट्रेंथ्स हैं, क्या मेरा सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस
या
बन रहा है। तो
या
बहुत टाइम लगता है। तो
या
ये कैसे आइडेंटिफाई किया आपने कि एक्चुअल में मेरा सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस क्या है? हाउ यू गॉट दैट?
Yeah, so basically, the point which you are telling, it's confusing because there is a lot of noise these days on everywhere. So people want to evaluate everything.
राइट।
For me, if you'll ask me something about, let's say, just example, a chemical company, which, or let's say a pharma company, I would just say I don't want to look into it because I don't know anything about pharma. I don't have any
राइट।
qualification. I'll not look into it. So circle of competence is that whenever you're analyzing any numbers or any company, you need to see that can you really understand that business,
राइट।
and for that you need to be either involved in those things in somewhere, in some way or other. For example, if you ask me to evaluate a banking company, because of being in finance, maybe I can reasonably try to understand that okay, this is the economics of banks, what they do, but it's not uh, as per my profile to understand a pharma company. So circle of competence is not about knowing about lot of industries or less industry. It's just about knowing your limitations, as
राइट।
Warren Buffett quotes. And
राइट।
also in this modern times, you do not need to be constant by your circle of companies. You need to keep on increasing that by reading, by learning, by having exposure on various industries. So that is also important.
राइट। तो मुझे दो पॉइंट समझ में आए, बहुत ही पावरफुल है। लाइक सबसे पहले हमने बात की सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस, लाइक कि जो आपने कहीं पे आपने थोड़ा उसको एक्सपोजर मिला है आपको लाइफ में।
Maybe you might work as a IT professional, so you might
हाँ।
understand economics of a IT company.
राइट। सो आपने उसमें थोड़ा सा एक्सपोजर लिया है, या फिर आपने एक पॉइंट और बोला बाद में कि अभी आज का जमाना हम लोग एआई के जमाने में जी रहे हैं, या फिर और टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी
Yeah,
रैपिडली एडवांस हो रही है।
yeah,
तो हम अपने सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस को ऐसा सर्कल बना के बंद नहीं कर सकते।
right.
वी नीड टू कॉन्स्टेंटली पुश इट्स
Constantly,
लिमिट,
yeah.
कि बढ़ाते जाए बढ़ाते
See,
जाए।
both points you need to be aware of the limitation of your circle and as
राइट।
well as try to increase
इंक्रीज
that
इट, या।
radius.
ओके, गॉट द पॉइंट। सो अभी दो चीज़ें क्लियर हो गई। लाइक अगर सिंपल टर्म में आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है तो आप अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट पकड़ लो। और अगर सर्कल आपको किस कहाँ जाना है, वो है सर्कल ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस। सो जो
Yeah,
हम भी बात कर, एक मतलब एक मैं डिस्क्लेमर भी दे देता हूँ, जो हम बात कर रहे हैं ना इस पॉडकास्ट में, वो हमारा खुद का पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है। तो अगर आप कोई भी इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन या कोई भी एक्शन लो, तो ये आपकी खुद की चॉइस है, और अपने फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर से प्लीज कंसल्ट कर लो बिफोर, बिकॉज
yeah.
वी आर जस्ट हैविंग अ
We are not
कॉन्वर्सेशन।
advisors.
सो डोंट टेक एनी एक्शन ऑन आवर एडवाइस।
Yeah, yeah.
सो अगर हम थर्ड, आपने बात किया, आपने बोला था एक पॉइंट सिगार बट इन्वेस्टिंग, सिगार बट अप्रोच में, लाइक कि जो मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, पहले मैं बताता हूँ, आप करेक्ट करना और उस पर
हाँ हाँ,
क्वान्टिफाई करना ना। तो सिगार बट इज लाइक कि अगर जैसे सिंपली आपने कोई बिजनेस है, अगर कुछ भी नहीं बचा, तो जो भी उसके पार्ट्स बच, जो भी अगर हमारे पास रिमेन्स बचे, हम उसे सेल ऑफ करके कितना पैसा बना सकते हैं।
right.
जनरली आप ये उन बिजनेस में काम करते हैं जहाँ पे हार्ड एसेट्स बहुत ज्यादा
Yeah,
है।
yeah.
जैसे अगेंस्ट देखेंगे इसके, इसका बिल्कुल अपोजिट है आईटी। हार्ड एसेट बहुत कम है, सारा
Right,
इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी पे काम हो रहा है।
right.
और अगर आप ये देखोगे, प्लांट्स एंड मशीनरी वाले बड़े बड़े बिजनेस, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स एंड ऑल, सो दीज वर्क्स ऑन दिस हार्ड एसेट्स। सो सिखावट इन्वेस्टिंग, ये मुझे समझ में आ गया कि हाँ ठीक है, सिंप्लीफाइड टर्म में कि आप कुछ भी ग्रोथ आए ना आए, जितना जैसे मैं एक एग्जांपल दूं, कुछ कंपनी जिनके होटल है बड़े बड़े, अब कुछ हो ना हो, उनकी होटल के लैंड एसेट्स हैं, अगर अगर वो लैंड ओन करते हैं, खुद से प्रॉपर्टीज ओन करते हैं, तो वो चीजें सेल ऑफ करके वो पैसा उसमें से आ सकता है। तो आप वो वैल्यू तक, आप उसको वैल्यू करने की बात कर रहे हो ना सिगार बट
No,
इन्वेस्टिंग में।
so no, so see, in my opinion, when I say cigar butt, we have to stick to a modified version of cigar butt because that was a thing of 100 years ago. And anyway,
ओके।
that won't work in India. Promoter might be holding. There are a lot of companies in India. I won't name them right now.
यस।
Their companies are having 600 crores, for example, on their balance sheet. Market can be 200 crores, but we know for sure the promoter is a man of very bad integrity. He'll take all money for himself. So there is no cigar butt in India. I don't know there had ever been cigar butt in a classical sense won't work in the current times. Even if it might work on a some obscure country on a some a well overlooked stock. So we do not have to look into the definition which, or we do not need to look what Ben Graham was doing 80 years ago. They have to modify the definition of cigar butt. The
हाउ
de-
वी आर गोइंग टू मॉडिफाई
yeah. See, so basically, again, 70 years ago, something trading at a 10 times of price to earnings might be a fair, reasonable value. That might not be cheap. because overall interest rates were higher. Overall market valuation was maybe on that range only. But currently, if I'm saying broader stock market indices is trading at a multiple of 25. So on that basis, even 20 would not look expensive. And
Okay.
cigar but was buying something below book value. So like currently you talked about hard assets. So today the businesses which are working on not the kind of a industry clear businesses which we used to have 50 years ago. Today we have new age businesses like maybe stock exchange. I'll come to that part later. Uh, or maybe some kind of asset light business model which we call. So there you will always have price to book value at a lot higher. So but that's perfectly warranted because you are earning greater returns on your equity. Basically, price to book is the derivative of how much ROE you generate on your net worth. मतलब आप बॉन्ड में देखोगे, सो अगर आपको पता है कि 10% लेट से आपकी बॉन्ड की वो है कूपन, एंड मार्केट कूपन इज 5%, so that 10% वाली बॉन्ड वो ट्रेड 2x ऑफ इट्स फेस वैल्यू. So same is with the stock. It's only you are replacing that coupon amount to the free cash flow or earnings, net earnings, whatever metric we might want to use.
So my
So
question still is like how we are going to modify that cigar butt investing.
see, we don't have to modify it. We just uh, if we look into modify, we'll stuck on that feedback loop. We have to see what value we are getting on current time. So if I really want to buy cigar, but I cannot buy now, I need to quit investing. It won't exist. So if I have to make money, I have to place some value on growth. Or I
Okay.
do not have to place value on growth, but I need to have my have the investment proposition where growth might happen. So the point is to pay very less for the core value, for that growth component because that's unknown. So when I am buying some company on 15 times its price to earnings, so it's not expensive in current times. But if that company has a growth prospects, I am getting that growth component at very negligible or lesser price, and that growth would drive the capital returns, which are the norm in current times. So if you really talk about cigar, but you need to go to Brazil. I have invested in one company at Peru to see if cigar button would still work today. But in India, it doesn't work. India
Okay.
market is not like that, and we don't have to.
थोड़ा सिंप्लीफाइड टर्म में मैं बोलता हूँ तो प्रखर भाई थोड़ी हायर लेवल की बातें कर रहे हैं गाइस। तो थोड़ा अगर आपको सुनना पड़े पॉज करके सुन लेना और पॉज करके देख लेना एक बार थोड़ा थोड़ा स्लो
I
चला
I,
के
I
देख
try
लेना।
to
थोड़ा
keep it
एनालाइज करके
very
देख लेना
slow.
कोई इशू नहीं अच्छी बात। तो बेसिकली इज लाइक कि करंट टाइम्स में हम जहाँ पे मतलब जैसे आजकल मार्केट है जैसे फंक्शन कर रहे हैं तो वहाँ पे ऐसे बहुत कम अपॉर्चुनिटीज रह रही हैं। एट लास्ट प्रखर भाई यही कहना चाह रहे हैं और हमें ऐसे सिकारबर्ड टाइप की इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी देखनी है तो ये बाहर कंट्रीज में जहाँ पे थोड़ा स्टेशनैलिटी एग्जिस्ट कर रही हो अभी थोड़ा सा वो चीज़ है। और अभी एक चीज़ और आपने बोला लाइक कि मुझे आपकी बात से एक चीज़ और समझ में आ रहा है कि लाइक हर किसी को अपना एक इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रेमवर्क भी डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा कि यार आपको
Right.
क्या सूट कर रहा है।
Yeah.
किसी को किसी को
Right.
न्यू एज कंपनी सूट कर रही है।
Right. Right.
कोई लोग एसेट हार्ड में ही लेते हैं बस।
Yeah.
कोई लोग बैंकिंग से बिल्कुल
Yeah.
कंफर्टेबल नहीं है कोई लोग
Yeah.
बैंकिंग बैंकिंग
Yeah.
ही बैंकिंग खेल रहे हैं।
Right. Right.
तो आपको थोड़ा सा अपना जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि इन्वेस्टमेंट में आप देखोगे तो लोग हमारी फ्रेटर्निटी में बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ते हैं बिकॉज दे ऑलवेज ट्राई टू पुश देयर लिमिट्स। सो
Yeah.
आप जब पढ़ोगे पढ़ते रहोगे जीवन में अपने आपको जान पाओगे और आपको समझ में
Yeah.
आएगा कि आपको क्या सूट कर रहा है।
Yeah.
तो फिर उसी इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रेमवर्क पे आप स्टिक करो। और
Yeah.
और वो अगर आप स्टिक करोगे तो बिल्कुल सही चलेगा। तो प्रज्ञा
Yeah.
भाई एक क्वेश्चन और था कि लाइक
हाँ.
जैसे कुछ बेसिक रिक्वेस्ट होते हैं अगर आप इन्वेस्टमेंट स्फेयर में काम कर रहे हो या फिर खुद से आप ये सब कर भी रहे हो। जैसे
हाँ.
हमने बात की थी कि अकाउंटेंसी वगैरह की क्योंकि आपको जैसे मैंने गवर्नमेंट के लेटर्स वगैरह ही पढ़े क्योंकि
Yeah.
ये तो मतलब लैंग्वेज है इस वर्ल्ड की अगर
Yeah.
आपको ये समझ में नहीं आते
Yeah.
तो
Yeah.
आपको थोड़ा मतलब आप
Yeah.
किसी को आउटसोर्स कर दो प्रोफेशनल्स को।
Yeah.
देर आर
Yeah.
पीपल हु आर डूइंग इट। बट अगर आपको आप इंडस्ट्री में काम करोगे मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल हु आर वाचिंग दिस पॉडकास्ट और आल्सो वर्किंग इन दिस इंडस्ट्री
Okay.
सो यू शुड बी लाइक वेरी मच अवेयर
हाँ.
ऑफ दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग। सो
Yeah.
जो धंधा आपको समझ में आ रहा है बिजनेस वही करने में सबकी भलाई है।
हाँ.
अगर आप उसको जो आपको समझ में नहीं आ रहा बस जैसे प्रखर भाई ने स्टार्टिंग में बोला था कि बहुत ज़्यादा मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन है बहुत ज़्यादा नॉइस है। अगर आप उन सब के पीछे जाओगे तो कहीं ना कहीं ना ना मतलब आप अपने बीइंग में भी नहीं रह पाओगे और आप ना वहां से कुछ मिलने वाला।
Yeah.
तो अपना एक सर्कल ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस डिफाइन करके कि मुझे इसमें ही खेलना है
Yeah.
मतलब मुझे इसमें ही प्ले करना है इस एरिया में पूरा तो आप उसी पे काम करो। अभी प्रकरण में हमने एक बार, हमने दो तीन बार मतलब दो तीन कुछ अपने काफी कुछ इन्वेस्टमेंट थीसिस वगैरह थे, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग थे, तो वो हमने एक बार डिस्कस किए थे। तो मुझे मतलब उसमें एक चीज अच्छी ये लगी थी कि लाइक आजकल इतना ज्यादा इसको फैंटेसाइज कर दिया है कि मॉडल्स एंड ऑल, बट जो एक्चुअल में मैंने देखा जितने बड़े बड़े इन्वेस्टर हैं वो तो बिना मॉडल्स के लाइक वो मतलब एक बड़े बड़े बॉल पार्क फिगर्स पे ही इन्वेस्टिंग कर, कुछ लोग कर रहे हैं अच्छे अच्छे। जैसे मैंने एक
Yeah,
सीएफए के इवेंट में भी सुना था एक बड़े इन्वेस्टर को,
yeah,
ही वाज सेइंग कि इंडस्ट्री इतनी है, मेरी कंपनी इतनी है, तो अभी मेरी कंपनी ग्रो भी करेगी तो इंडस्ट्री का इतना परसेंट कैप्चर कर
yeah,
लेगी। सो आप
yeah,
उससे रिलेटेड कोई एग्जांपल बताओ।
yeah.
जैसे हमने बात भी की है कल तक, शायद कोई
Hmm.
एग्जांपल।
Yeah, yeah. No, so I mean, that's the thing. Like there is a sorry, there is a quotation like Warren Buffett has once spoken that if something is not screaming yes for you, then it's you should disregard that. So, I mean, what do you want to achieve by doing any kind of modeling or fancy projection? I have said initially that value is nothing but the subjective. There is no clear value of any security. It's just a subjective number which you have to form. So, and I've also talked about margin of safety. So, if I know something, let's say company is making 1,000 crores of profit and it's trading at 4,000 crores of market cap, and I know that future prospects of that industry might not be very bad. It might be good, it might be similar, but not extraordinarily bad. So what more I want to look? There is nothing which a DCF would give me. Basically, DCF is the framework of the value any asset for that matter, how much cash it can generate till perpetuity or till its redemption. But so that's a concept. But that concept doesn't mean you to do take a pen and paper and calculate that. So even in my investment, I never make a model. If you'll ask me to make a model, I won't be able to make. I am not unhireable right now because I don't know how to make a model. But when I invest, I look for that kind of a that kind of a proposition, and that's why we run a concentrated strategy, concentrated portfolio. Because at a particular period of time, I might know not know. I would just have three or four companies in which I really understand what's going on and what are reasonable. See, I always talk about reasonability because the future is uncertain. I don't know what would happen year after for the company, for the business. So we are just making a guess, not a guess, but we are just making a reasonable probabilistic evaluation of what might happen. So I mean that then you start doing fancy projection. There is some illusion of preciseness on uncertainty. I mean, you cannot predict how you look 1 year later. Then I give you a whole model that okay, this would be that, your hairs would be this much, or whatever ever example you can take from any part of your life.
बट मेरा एक पॉइंट है इसमें लाइक कि हमको कुछ ना कुछ तो एक एक बेंचमार्क चाहिए ना, हम कहाँ से स्टार्ट करेंगे? दीज मॉडल्स एटलीस्ट गिव्स अस अ बेंचमार्क कि भाई इतने इतने नंबर्स डाल के इतनी इतनी ग्रोथ लेके
See,
इतना इतना कैश फ्लो
if
लेके
someone needs that
एटलीस्ट।
benchmark, so it's good for them. I mean, they should make a model.
ओके।
Yeah, see, investing is not about copying something. It's an independent procedure. So if I am not making a model and if you follow me, that might be one of the worst decision for anyone to take. And the same for me. If my approach doesn't require me to do something, but just for the sake of it, or just if it looks fashionable, I start doing that, then also it won't look good. The core thing is what is the framework. If you are making a model, but if you are aware of the limitations of your projection, then it's fine. It's just whatever you are figuring out mentally, you are just expressing that on an Excel sheet or a piece of paper. Only thing you do not have to consider that Excel sheet as is something more than uh, what is going on in your head. So it just depends on the type of investors. But when I say something should be screaming yes, like I give you example, 1,000 crores is the net profit. Let's say 1,000 crores is the dividend which the company is paying. For 100 rupee per share is the dividend of the company, and market price is 500. There's 20% dividend yield. Now you have to see if you expect reasonably of their dividend to continue, then you have to think how much capital you how much positions how much capital you want to deploy on that opportunity. Then it would also uh, depend on the type of mental temperament you have. like I spoke about concentration, but that's not what I advise anyone because it depends on temperament. I am okay to see my holding value drop 50% next month because I don't place any value on the market quotation. But someone else might not be able to or might not like to see that much drawdown. So for them, it's a better idea to spare on more number of securities. But then also over diversifying doesn't make any sense even for a risk averse investor. So, but so basically we don't have to go in excess of anything, not diversification, not concentration. You have to see firstly what's your own situation at a particular point of time. You asked me about my
About an example,
thesis.
suppose हाँ yeah, how you like mentally calculate all the things like कि ठीक है यार ये सेंस बन रहा नहीं बन रहा है। जैसे आप अभी एग्जांपल दिए थे शायद
Yeah,
ऐसा कि 100 रुपीज का डिविडेंड दे रही है, 500 रुपीज की
yeah,
मार्केट वैल्यू है।
yeah.
सो
I'll give
हंड्रेड
you a
रुपीज
real
का
life
डिविडेंड तो
example of
बहुत
one of
ज्यादा
my
मतलब।
my investment. It might be do good to for understanding. So basically, there is company Vedanta Limited in India markets. I bought it before COVID, so it was not that I bought it depressed market. At that time, dividend yield of the company was 12 percentage. It can be 11, can be 13. I don't know exact figure now. I bought it I think 2020 or 2019 in the maybe October November. I started purchasing. I don't I don't purchase anything on a single go. I just keep on accumulating till I have the capital left. Uh, that time dividend yield was 10, around 12 percentage. PE was also fairly less, and it was hated by every analyst. They were saying, okay, company won't continue paying dividends. They have governance issue. They have this thing and that thing. I also knew that these are the problems, but I was getting uh, margin of safety, or not a margin of safety, but I was getting it at a so cheap price as compared to general markets at that time. I was willing to give allowance for whatever uh, issues the company was having. Fast forward now, I think I have got maybe 3x of what I invested in dividend alone of that company. The current stock price is around 6x. I bought it around 120 to 140. It's at 700 right now. So maybe 6x of my initial price. And on top of that, I got dividend, which is roughly 300, 350 rupee per share on that investment. And I didn't knew investing. I didn't even knew 5% of what I know now. I was just 19, 20 at that time. So it's not on the basis of my analytical skills that I bought this company. I just bought because it was trading very cheap, and it was at a it was a maybe one of the higher dividend yield player at that time. And I just took a bet that okay, dividend would continue to run for at least nearby future, and I'll keep on covering my invested amount. So that was my thesis. I mean, and in those thesis, what could I have done by using Excel?
इट्स अ प्योर कन्विक्शन प्ले है
It
कि
wasn't a conviction. I was aware of the limitations of my analysis. So that's what I say. I
ओके
evaluate
ओके
anything on
सो
odds.
व्हेन टू when मतलब what was the initial plan to exit
Yeah,
if company stop paying dividend if
I
some
don't have any exact plan. I
so
just evaluate anything on real time basis and then form a decision.
okay, we talked about a good decision. What was the worst decision that played against you, that played out against you? Like,
So there are a lot of
because
work
like
decisions.
we everybody
There
talks
are a
about
lot of
like
work decision. Out of 10, maybe 5, 6 would be a bad decision only in investing. There are a lot of which I made. I must let me recall something pretty bad which I did. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
सो जब तक अगर भाई एक एग्जांपल लेके आए तो मैं बताता हूँ कि जनरली इन्वेस्टिंग में क्या होता है कि आप अगर 10 स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो सो आपको नहीं चाहिए कि आपके सारे चले। सपोज आप 10% 10 में डाल रहे हो, अगर आपके एक भी 10% वाला 5x या 6x हो गया ओवर द ईयर, जैसे अभी एक एग्जांपल था, तो वो आपके जो भी नेगेटिव डाउन साइड होंगे उनको सबको कवर कर देता है। तो जनरली जो इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजर्स होते हैं वो अपने अपने रेशना बना लेते हैं कि हमें क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना। जैसे अभी कॉन्सनट्रेट पोर्टफोलियो की बात कर रहे थे कि जैसे मैं पहले थोड़ा टाइम पहले मैं AIF PMS में काम मतलब इस इंडस्ट्री में थोड़ा सा मैं काम कर रहा था। देन लाइक कुछ कुछ फंड मैनेजर्स ऐसे थे जो 10 10 12 12 स्टॉक का पोर्टफोलियो चला रहे थे बस, कुछ उससे भी कम का भी चला रहे थे, और कुछ के में तो इतने थे कि म्यूचुअल फंड और उनके PMS या AIF में डिफरेंस ही नहीं समझ में आ रहा। तो लाइक कि एवरीथिंग इज देयर। सो आपको क्या समझ रहे हो और आपको क्या नहीं डाइजेस्ट हो रहा है वो देखना है। और अभी एग्जांपल देंगे प्रखर भाई कि हमने देखा कि एक एक डिसीजन 6x हुआ, बट
Yeah,
जो
so
गया
see, so
नीचे।
that's the beauty of long only investing. That's why I'm not talking about, I don't talk about long, short, or derivatives. All that things are just for additional yield. But this asymmetry of upside, even if you have a 10 stock portfolio, even if you allocate equally 10% of your portfolio, and one is even one or if stock goes 10x or 20x, your whole CAGR would be maybe it would outperform general markets. And if you are a good stock picker, so if you just get 3, 4 decisions right, you'll make you'll outperform virtually 99% of professionals if you can get that. Worst
जी
decision coming, I just made a year ago. I bought a stock on the paper industry. It's a declining industry, as you are aware better than me. I just bought because it was trading cheap. So that's a disadvantage of what I am seeing. I bought it because it was trading very cheap at just 5 times its earnings. Now what happened fast forward now? Input cost, the cost of raw material are on rise on that company, which
इम्पोर्ट
is a wood
इम्पोर्टिंग
pulp, pulp, yeah.
ओके।
So that's on a rise. In the sales realization, how much money you get per unit of use sale is on
राइट,
decline because of cheap imports and all that
both
kind
the
of a thing.
headwinds are there
Yeah. So firstly, your cost of material is rising,
और
your
एक्चुअल
realization is
रियलाइजेशन में
declining,
ना।
your net profit is just taking a hit. Fast forward now, I'm down, I think 30% from my 30 or 35, whatever is it, from my entry price, from my average price, even if there was not entry. From my entry price, I am down by about 50 percentage. And that, so what, why it was also, there was one other reason why it was a bad decision. I used leverage to buy that
फॉर
security.
दैट थिंग।
Yeah, because I like to do a lot of things which I should not do, and that I am
गॉट
only
इट
able
मैन।
to because I am managing my own money along with a few close partners. But that is not the right way to approach market. But if you ask for the bad decision, so I have a lot of that. But I just
या
thought to share one because that will also contradict what I just said 10 minutes earlier about buying something cheap. Cheap doesn't work always. That's final. And there's something trading cheap because of one reason or the other. So markets are inefficient, but they are not stupid. That if you just run something on a screener and buy something trading at 5 or 6 times of price to earnings, even there is whole concept of what should be the price to earnings of any stock. But that would be a bit more. I'll keep that for next time. Otherwise, you won't listen to me. But I'll share the reference with you later. So basically, it's again, yeah. So when I say something cheap, it does something traded 20 times of price to earnings can be cheaper than something trading at 10 times of price to earnings. I always talk about return on equity, return on invested capital, return on ROCE. So that is what determines what should be the price to earning of your company. So that's why investing is a paradox. You do not need to be like Charlie Munger says, a man with a hammer sees everything as a nail. So you need to have bunch of models to evaluate different things. So it's
मैं थोड़ा
I
पॉज देता हूँ प्रखर भाई
yeah,
को।
yeah,
यू टेक अ ब्रीदर।
yeah.
सो
No,
व्हाट
no,
इज
it's
लाइक
not.
कि
I know I am getting out of the league, but so see that's how investing. I cannot define investing in 1 hour.
या आई
So
अंडरस्टैंड दैट
that's
एंड
the
रिस्पेक्टेड एज वेल। सो मेजर पॉइंट ये है कि आपको शायद थोड़ा सा ओवरवेलमिंग लग रहा होगा, लेकिन मुझे पता है सारे
see. It's not
मोस्टली लोगों को
overwhelming. Well, if you
थोड़ा सा।
reflect closely and if
हाँ, थोड़ा
so
आराम से।
you will understand that it's fairly simple. It's nothing fancy. It is very even I said that we do not even need to make a model. But only thing is we need keep everything simple, but not simpler like Albert Einstein had mentioned. So at least you need to be there are prerequisite to enter into any game. Now I am saying this because I know there are a lot of guys these days. Okay, you can learn investing in a month or 15 days, or you can do this and that. So basically, I won't give
राइट,
that to anyone.
राइट।
Uh, that's not the case. For investing, just take example annual reports. It's a 200-page document. If you read annual reports of last 5 years, that's a 1,000 page of material. And when you keep on analyzing companies, so are you just getting how much information you need to consume to form your opinion? Opinion will be simple in nature, but to get to the point when you can make that kind of a decision, when you do not need any support or model or anything, like Warren Buffett has said, he can analyze something on 5 minutes. So it's something like a uh, some sprint runner, because he has spent his 20 years on practicing. He can run that sprint race within 10-20 seconds. So similar thing in investing, you have to gradually compound your knowledge or exposure. There is no what we say, no finished point on the same. I
Yeah,
can
and
debate
it's
on
yeah.
any side of the argument. I can contradict whatever I have said on these 30 minutes and prove why it's wrong. So investing is
Okay.
not something which is something like a 2 plus 2 is 4. Concept is same, but on what less you are seeing a particular situation, that's important. And majorly it's uncertainty. You cannot avoid that. There is a something like hindsight bias with 10 years, like Vedanta. I was saying it's 6, 7x, 10x, but I didn't know it would be a 10x at that time.
Right.
Otherwise, I
When
would
you were
have overall
entering the
and
situation.
just invested everything there. I
Yeah.
invested in something on, like I was telling you, invested on Bombay Stock Exchange BSE. Again, if I knew that what it would do, I my net worth would have been more than 5x of what it's now. I made a lot of money on that, but I would have made a lot more. So investing is a game where you are always disappointed, even if you even if it's a your belt.
Yeah. A
Disappointed,
person who is winning is also disappointed.
always
Like
disappointed.
I
I'm
left
disappointed.
early or I betted less.
Yeah,
So like that's the game.
yeah.
So okay, I know कि प्रखर भाई के बहुत बहुत चीजें हैं और इनको मतलब ऐसा थोड़ा डीप लेवल पे एक क्लोज कॉन्वर्सेशन में बात करो तो ज्यादा मजा आता है. कभी हम कोई फिजिकल इवेंट में साथ में करेंगे कोई इवेंट तभी हम ज्वाइन करेंगे इस कॉन्वर्सेशन को कंटिन्यू
I'm
करने.
bad in podcast. I know, and it's my
Yeah.
yeah. I know that.
Arey, nahi, you are doing fairly good. No worries. So, okay, I know that you read a lot of books. So, what are the three books that you recommend to people who are like trying to build like very precise to the point, like investment thesis and like core investment framework they are trying to build on their own. So,
See, if they are see when we are talking about investment thesis, I think that's the work of a buy side manager, or if you are very deeply involved in it. So if you are a professional working, let's say in IT, so I think index fund or something like that might be better proposition for you. But let's assume we have audience capable of analyzing the stock. So I think Intelligent Investor is a book which comes first. It has every the concept of margin of safety or treating businesses. Treating stocks is a part of a business is all their intelligent investor.
got the point.
So I think
Second,
that's one of the best book.
yeah,
Secondly, what see, I want to say, if you read all the letters of Warren Buffett, you don't need to read anything else. Just read Intelligent Investor and all the letters of Warren Buffett. Uh, the
okay,
other book is Security Analysis, which is one of the best book. Yeah, but that's not that's a little more on a complicated level. And in current times, I don't see, for me that's indispensable. But people can ignore that. So first book is Intelligent Investor. Second, I would suggest maybe read Common Stocks, Uncommon Profit
common
from Phil
stocks,
Fisher. Uncommon
uncommon
Profits
profit.
by Phil Fisher. Basically, you do not have to stick on buying something cheap. I just gave you as a reference. Phil Fisher makes a very good point of saying that why you need to pay a little extra if you're getting a good franchisee or
Good proposition,
a
yeah.
more proposition. So there is a concept of scuttlebutt, and there are very good arguments given in the book of Phil Fisher. Thirdly, I think you can read Poor Charlie's Almanac. That's not completely related with investing, but you will do better if you read that. And if you have extra time, read Adam Smith. See, something which is not directly related with investing sometimes gives you a more uh,
Idea, better perspective and all.
better perspective to
Yeah,
how to
Adam Smith
approach
is
something.
like has done a great job in
See,
like
Warren
we
Buffett
say.
has a there is two favorite books of Warren Buffett. Three: Intelligent Investor, Security Analysis, and Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith.
Yeah,
So you do not need my advice. You can just take his advice on the book.
yeah, वेल्थ ऑफ नेशन लाइक कि मतलब कोर कोर स्टार्टिंग जहाँ से सब लोग उस पर बिल्ड कर रहे हैं फर्दर
Yeah, how the
फ्रॉम कोर.
economic
या
so all those concepts up there, and it's a very slow progressive work, but if you read it, I think you will learn a lot more than any academic course might offer you
गॉट द पॉइंट.
at this time.
या
Then
गॉट
books
द
are
पॉइंट
there,
प्रखर
there are a
भाई.
lot of books.
या
Currently I am also, there was one more very good book I recently uh, that's a work was Joel Greenbelt, the little book that beats a market, something like that. i
ओके.
I think initially
ओके
you
ओके
can read
गॉट इट.
that.
लाइक 4 5 बुक वी हैव. सो मतलब आप लोग जो देख रहे हो इस पॉडकास्ट को, सो आप लोग को भी लग रहा होगा कि इट्स नॉट लाइक नॉर्मल टॉक्स, लाइक आपको कुछ डिफरेंट कॉन्ट्रा पर्सपेक्टिव्स मिले होंगे आपको। इट्स नॉट लाइक कि हम कोई नॉर्मल सी बात कर रहे हैं। मैं भी जब प्रखर भाई से बात करता हूँ तो लाइक प्रखर भाई सब समझा के चले, आधी बातें तो मुझे रिपीट पसंद नहीं होती, बताओ बताओ दोबारा बताओ क्या
I
बोल
know.
रहे हो।
I am
सो
bad
इट
at
इज़ वेरी
that.
इंटरेस्टिंग, लाइक सम भी जब भी आपको मतलब जब भी मतलब कुछ अलग सी चीज़ें समझनी होती है तो लाइक प्रखर भाई ऑलवेज एड्स वैल्यू देयर। सो आई होप कि आप लोग को भी इस पॉडकास्ट से बहुत वैल्यू मिली होगी, और आप इसको ढंग से सुनोगे ना तो बहुत चीज़ें जल्दी जल्दी हमने कवर कर दी हैं, बट आप उनको और डीप में जाओगे तो बहुत मज़ा आएगा और बहुत लिटरली पावरफुल होने वाला है। सो थैंक यू प्रखर भाई, थैंक यू सो मच
Thank
फॉर
you, Prince Bhai.
ज्वाइनिंग
Yeah,
मी
and I
एंड
know I am
लाइक
bad at podcast, so yeah.
अरे
But if there is any query of anyone, so just send it across. I will expect you better on replying via mail.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
then
So if
I
you
am
have
better
any
at that.
question, you have any argument about this conversation, and anything you need to convey to Prakhar bhai. So we'll add the email ID, add his email ID in the video description. You can write to him, and like keep the conversation going. So I
Yeah,
hope you had a great time. You learned a lot of things, and like it's time to start action. Like learning is not enough. You apply these concepts, whatever you have learned in this podcast, in your real life. Then it
yeah.
is of value.
That's right.
So
See, please, just one more point. I asked
yeah.
ChatGPT a week ago, suggest me some good books to read. ChatGPT reverted, you close all your books, start reading annual reports. So that was what ChatGPT advised me. So that's the more better advice. Close, just start reading annual reports. You do not
Great.
have to listen to me or anyone. Just do
Great.
your own
Chalo.
work independently. You need to listen to Prince Bhai because he brings a very greater perspective. But
नहीं
yeah,
नहीं, literally मतलब it's like he's not saying कि listen to me everything, like do the right thing and you need not to listen to anybody else.
no, you
So
have to
that's the
listen actually.
that's the
That
beauty.
yeah, you don't have to listen to me. No,
Yeah,
one thing is
so that's the
for
beauty
sure.
of it. Great, great. So प्रखर भाई आप कुछ अगर मैसेज देना चाहते हो ऑडियंस को, after that we'll close the
Yeah.
podcast.
So one more point which I just recollected. Basically, what is the problem in investing is that people overestimate what they can do on 1 or 2 years, but they underestimate what they can do on 10 or 20 years. So even for careers, so because it's very easy to visualize converting your 1 crore, let's 10 lakh to 20 lakh on maybe couple of years, but people are not able to visualize making their 10 lakh as 2 crores or 5 crores in 15 to 20 years. So when you focus on eliminating short-term noise and making good decisions, better decisions instead of worrying about the short-term outcomes because that's not under your control. But if you do the good work over the period of time, I think you will do a lot better than you think. So I'll say don't overestimate your capability for what you can achieve in a nearby future, but don't underestimate what you can do on 10 or 15 years. Just build upon it, and that would be a lot more than even what anyone, I or you, would be visualizing right now. 1 crore can be made 50 crores or 100 crores over the period of time. But if you want to make them on 3 years or 4 years, you will go bankrupt. So this is what I think is you can reflect on this point. I could not express that on a
Yeah,
better way,
got your
but
point, got your
just
point.
look into it.
Yeah, it's like it's all about eliminating the noise and focusing on long-term goals, because short-term में noises मतलब
In
जितना
every
आप
decision, not
short-term
just
में
in investing,
push
it's
करोगे।
in a career,
Yeah,
in whatever proposition you are doing.
yeah, yeah. Great message. So I won't add anything after this message. You listen to this message and like थोड़ा सा उस पर सोचो और कहाँ जा रही है चीज़ें, और अगर आप इस पर रिफ्लेक्ट करोगे तो यू आर गोइंग टू get good or great answer from yourself. So reflect on those answers, and I will see you in some another podcast. Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, Prince, for having me. Thank you.